Up next at number 9 is Russell Brand. He's known to be a feisty guy to begin with, so you can only imagine how he would react to someone who's trying to snatch an inappropriate picture of his woman. That's right, back in 2010, the actor was with his wife at the time, Katy Perry, and they were making their way through LAX. He noticed that one of the paparazzi photographers were trying to take pictures up Katy's dress, and that's when he came to her defense and lashed out on the man. He pushed him down and grabbed at his camera, but did not stick around for any altercation. He kinda like ran off. However, someone at the airport made a citizen's arrest and he was detained until police arrived. The victim had placed the actor under private person's arrest, and Brand was charged with battery and forced to pay $13,000 bail to free himself. Katy later took it to Twitter and said, I quote, "If you cross the line and try and put a lens up my dress, my fiance will do his job and protect me." So at their number 8 spot is Kanye West. This does not surprise me one bit. It is no secret that the man basically walks around doing whatever he wants to whoever he wants. Hence the whole steal the microphone from Taylor Swift thing. But his actions finally had consequences after he was charged with misdemeanor battery and attempted grand theft for attacking a paparazzo. Apparently that is what they call these people. And he also attempted to steal his camera. Kanye was walking through LAX in 2008 and he was not in the mood to deal with the paparazzi, or one of them in particular. He ended up getting into a physical scruff with the cameraman and was trying to literally steal his camera from him, telling him to let go of it. At one point he even puts him in a headlock, trying to get him to release the camera. Kanye ends up backing off of the man who still had his camera, but the judge sentenced him to serve 2 years probation for the misdemeanor battery conviction. He was also required to attend 24-hour anger management sessions and perform 250 hours of community service and pay restitution to the victim. So he basically lost that entire thing.
In at number 7, Mike Tyson. I have no idea why any paparazzi would want to get in Mike Tyson's face, but some still do. In 2009, Tyson was even arrested after a photographer claimed that he shoved him to the ground. Another one felt the wrath of Mike Tyson when he hounded him at an airport. Mike was at an airport going to his gate and he was being escorted by 2 traffic control cops, but one paparazzi was walking behind him, presumably to follow him to his gate. When Mike and the cops walked into an off-limits area and then the paparazzi followed, Tyson lost it. He started walking up to the paparazzi and confronted him. We don't know what exactly went on after, but it looked like the camera was knocked to the ground, and there's a high chance the paparazzi got hit too. In at number 6, Russell Brand. Russell Brand went off on the paparazzi during a date night with Katy Perry when the paparazzi followed the couple into a parking garage and invaded their space. After the paparazzi followed the couple to their car, he was so angry that he got out of the vehicle and started pushing one of the photographers away. I'm not sure if something happened beforehand that we didn't see, but Russell and Katy were in the car about to drive off when Russell all of a sudden got out of the car and confronted the paparazzi, telling them to leave. He started pushing one to leave, but when the paparazzi wouldn't budge, Russell and Katy just drove off. Halfway at number 5, Justin Bieber. The Biebs is another star that has had a number of negative interactions with paparazzi. One of the worst was in London in 2013. The singer was trying to make his way into his car when he allegedly pushed one of the paparazzi out of the way. After Justin got in the car and was waiting to be driven off, the photographer started bad-mouthing him right outside of his car window, telling him to go back to America and calling him a moron. But Justin wasn't happy with the comments and decided to get out of the car and try to fight these paparazzi, telling them that he would beat the hell out of them. Afterwards, he tweeted out, quote, "Sometimes when people are shoving cameras in your face all day and yelling the worst things possible at you, well, I'm human." I guess that would give you an explanation as to why he lost his temper.
Alright guys, at number 3 is Lamar Odom. The NBA superstar had a lot of people confused back in 2013 when a video surfaced of him going a little crazy in the streets of LA. Apparently he had an issue with a paparazzo and found his car parked on the side of a street. Lamar didn't care that the street was busy with LA tour buses and residents, and he started to lash out and go through the photographer's car. I guess the pap asked him about his affair on Chloe, and that's when he went berserk. He ended up yelling at the man and took all of his camera equipment out of his car and tossed it into the middle of the street. Like literally in the middle of the road where cars were driving by. It was chaos. It was all of the man's camera equipment, and Lamar took it a step further by going up to it and smashing anything that wasn't already broken. Fans were standing by confused watching the entire thing happen, and at the end of the video a fan asks for a picture with him and he just calmly smiles with her in a selfie. It's like really strange to watch. He was charged with a misdemeanor vandalism charge, but they were dropped after he agreed agreed to pay for everything that he broke. In spot number 2 is Bjork. You wouldn't really expect the singer to be a firecracker, but people were left in shock after seeing footage of her attacking a reporter at the airport back in 1996. The footage doesn't even look real. Honestly, I can't even believe that it happened this way. You have to watch it. She landed in New Zealand with her young daughter, who was also with her when she made the attack. She looked tired and frustrated by the amount of cameras that were swarming her, but the reporter was standing by her car and simply welcomed her to New Zealand. Like literally, she's just said, "Welcome to New Zealand," and that's when she basically turned into the Hulk. She viciously attacks the woman, pushing her to the floor, punching her, pulling her hair, everything. It was literally complete madness. She ended up apologizing to the reporter later on and also released a public apology statement. However, the reporter ended up not pressing any charges. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Alec Baldwin. He definitely deserves this one. There's too many paparazzi attacks to name when it comes to this actor. We'd probably need a part 2 list dedicated just to him. But his attack in 2013 had people feeling some type of way since he was a new father at the time. That's the thing though, he was super protective of his wife at the time and even more protective of his little girl, which is why he lost it when a pap was trying to take some pictures of the couple and their newborn baby just a day after she was born. Alec ended up attacking him, pinning him to the hood of a car, trying to grab his camera from him, all while punching and kicking him. Photos surfaced which showed the entire attack, and he was charged with misdemeanor battery. This isn't his first charge either. He was also charged after he attacked a pap and smashed his phone on the ground. He has a list of paparazzi battles, all of which he seems to have won. Probably because no one would ever assault the actor since they know that they would lose that case in a heartbeat.
Starting off this countdown, we have Miley Cyrus. In 2011, Miley Cyrus was leaving a restaurant in West Hollywood with her mom when the paparazzi came rushing up towards them. One of the pops ended up brushing by Miley's mom to get a better shot at Miley, and she did not like that one bit.
What the heck? Are you serious? Please don't calm down. You just hit my mom. I didn't hit your mom. Yeah, you just ran into my mom with your camera. You just ran into my mom with your camera.
Miley got very defensive for her mom, telling the paparazzi off. She said, and I quote, "You just hit my mom with your camera. Don't you ever do that again. You just almost hurt my mom. Don't you ever even think about it for real." Now, I personally don't think Miley did anything wrong here. She's a strong woman concerned for her mom's safety. In fact, Miley has never feared the paparazzi. She has even called them out a number of times and has expressed how frustrated she feels with how intrusive they are.
At number 7 is Britney Spears. May we never forget her bald head circa. Back in 2007, shortly after the whole head shaving incident, she attacked a paparazzo and his SUV. She was in her friend's vehicle at a gas station where she was swarmed by photographers who were trying to take pictures of her inside the car. She reached her breaking point and then went on the attack. What was her weapon of choice? An umbrella, of course. She started swinging her umbrella viciously at the photographer, which ended up leaving a big mark on his back. It was all caught on tape, but then she went for his Ford Explorer and began smashing whatever she could as she repeatedly yelled, "F you." She ended up dropping the umbrella and then sped off in her friend's car. A few months later, she ended up apologizing on her website, and down the road in 2017, the photographer started to auction off the umbrella. Yes, he kept it, and now he is trying to make some cash off of it by starting it off at $50,000. No reports were made that it was sold, and Britney never commented on it. Next up in the number 6 spot is Chris Martin. The Coldplay singer has made headlines on multiple occasions, like the time he allegedly smashed the windshield of a photographer's car, or when he was accused of purposely hitting a paparazzo with his car, like literally running him over. Every incident lands him on this list today, but one personal physical attack was completely random and very uncalled for, and it was all caught on tape. He was leaving the hospital with his wife at the time, Gwyneth Paltrow, who was in the car before he even walked out. One paparazzi congratulated him and asked if everything was okay, but instead of responding, he attacks a different cameraman, pushing him down to the floor, saying, "Have some respect."
Hey Chris, thanks for the video. You give it back to him or this door's getting broken. Give the camera back to him.
He ends up grabbing the camera from him as he's lying down on the road and tries to get in his car with it. The man, along with another cameraman, got to him before getting in the car and told him that they will break his car door if he doesn't give it back. He ends up giving it back, probably in hopes that he doesn't get charged for everything that was just caught on videotape by the other man, who said to him, "Thanks for the video, Chris." Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Hugh Grant. Some celebs use their fists to fight off paparazzi, some of them use their car, some of them throw objects, and some of them even spit. But not Hugh Grant. Nope, he kicks them in the nuts. Well, he also throws things. He got arrested back in 2007 for throwing a container of beans at a cameraman. But when it comes to a physical altercation, he goes for the groin. In 2009, video footage surfaced of him walking through New York with a friend. He was being followed by some paparazzi as per usual, and they seemed to be getting along. He was laughing with them at first, but ended up attacking one of them and just kicked him in the crotch for no apparent reason. The guy was so thrown off he didn't even know how to respond. He did respond with, "Ouch, good thing I put my hand there." He also threatened to go find a cop and said that he has other witnesses. But Hugh looks completely unbothered the entire time and just casually walks away. Here we are at number 4 with Gerard Butler. Back in 2008, the actor was being investigated after he allegedly attacked a photographer, aka paparazzi, and left him with a bloody mouth. The cameraman filed a police report accusing him of punching him several times in the face and cutting his lip to a point where he needed stitches. Apparently, the paparazzo was tailing him in his car after the actor left a restaurant in LA, and Hugh got out of his car and punched him in the face 3 to 4 times. He had to go to the hospital to get stitches on his lip. The man also accused him of grabbing him by the throat and kicking his car. He did end up being charged with a misdemeanor criminal battery. Like some others on this list, they should just have like a little club of this.
In our third spot today, we have Prince Harry. When Prince Harry was younger, he was a rebellious bad boy. He got caught doing a number of scandalous things. One of them being getting into a fight with the paparazzi. Now, as we know, a number of celebrities get in fights with the paparazzi, but for a member of the royal family to get into a scuffle, it's like 10 times worse because of their title. They have to act royal at all times. Anyways, when Harry was 20 years old, he was leaving a nightclub when he got into a fight with the paparazzi who was waiting outside. It resulted in Harry punching the guy in the face. Now, Harry claimed that he was just defending himself, but the paparazzi has a different story. He says that the attack was unprovoked. He was just doing his job. Harry got mad at the cameras being up in his face and he took a swing at him. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Sean Penn. Now, if you know Sean Penn, then you know that he does not like paparazzi at all. In fact, he doesn't even like it when fans take photos of him. But that's a whole other story on its own, because he literally broke a fan's phone for taking a photo of him. Anyways, in this incident that occurred back in 2009, Sean was headed to his car when a photographer was standing close by. Out of nowhere, he walked up to the man, kicked him in the leg, and then broke his camera. As a result, he was charged and sentenced to 36 months of probation, including 300 hours of community service. I mean, I understand where these celebrities are coming from. Like, imagine having a bad day and someone's up in your face taking photos. Like, you'd go crazy not having any private time. So I get why they would lash out.
And at number 10, we have Kanye West. Kanye West is no stranger to negative paparazzi interactions, and it seems that there was a certain point a few years back where he would go off the rails anytime he was encountered by a paparazzi. One time was in 2013 when Kanye walked out of a car into LAX. A paparazzi then confronted him and started complimenting him on his music. I'm not sure if something happened before, but Kanye almost immediately covered up the camera with his hands and told the paparazzi to stop speaking to him. And after what felt like a long conversation, Kanye walked off, but the paparazzi didn't really listen, and as Kanye was walking away into the airport, the paparazzi followed him and continued asking him questions. The video ends with Kanye turning around and lunging at the paparazzi, so something tells me it didn't end well. Another iconic paparazzi moment was when Kanye was walking with Kim out of a parking garage, and since he was looking down to avoid looking at the paparazzi, he ended up walking right into a pole. And it looked like it was a pretty hard hit too. Kanye stopped and held his head for a second while yelling at them to stop taking pictures, and then he walked away quickly into the restaurant. And at number 8, Miley Cyrus. Considering how famous Miley Cyrus was as a teenager, she was berated by paparazzi watching her every move. She's generally pretty cordial with them. However, once in 2011, she lashed out at a paparazzi after it got too close to her mother while they were leaving a store. Basically, they were walking out, and while the paparazzi was trying to get a picture of Miley, he ran past her mother and it looked like he shoved her. Miley then decided to push him and his camera away while telling him to never get close to her mom again. Later, she tweeted out, quote, "I hate paparazzi with a passion. Disgusting pigs." No offense to pigs.
In our 7th spot today, we have Russell Brand. In 2010, while Brand was dating Katy Perry, the two were spotted headed to his car after a date night. It actually is very uncomfortable to watch. Like, you can tell Katie is so uncomfortable with everyone just around her and asking questions and snapping photos. As the pair gets into their car, Brand gets very frustrated that the paparazzi are still following them. So he jumps out of the car and proceeds to shove the paparazzi out of the way. He also started to threaten them. In fact, after this altercation, Brand was arrested for battery. He was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport after attacking one of the photographers.
Oh, Lois.
According to Brand, though, he got mad at this photographer because he spotted him trying to shoot up Katie's skirt. So he was just trying to defend his fiancée. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Jude Law. According to paparazzi Harsha Gopal, she was taking photos of Jude Law when he turned around and just smacked her across the face. This occurred in 2009 as Jude was leaving a restaurant in London. She says that the attack was completely unprovoked. She was with fellow paparazzi when Jude just turned around and struck her. Jude, on the other hand, claims that it was completely accidental. He claims that the camera lights were so bright that he couldn't see, so he raised his hand to cover his eyes and accidentally hit someone. People managed to capture this moment on film, and is Jude telling the truth? Was it an accident? I don't know. Well, Harsha had this to say, and I quote, "It was deliberate. You could see it in his face. Maybe he didn't realize he was hitting a girl, but he could at least apologize," end quote. In our 4th spot today, we have Lindsay Lohan. In 2010, Lindsay Lohan got heated after paparazzi swarmed her car while at an airport in Milan. So she decided to roll down her window and chuck a drink at them.
Damn, oh Lindsay, don't do that, that hurts. Why are you throwing cans on people? Are you okay? That's beer.
The Pops then proceed to harass Lohan, asking why she had a beer in the car with her in the first place. Now, this isn't the first time that Lohan has thrown stuff at the paparazzi. In 2009, Lohan was greeted with paparazzi waiting outside of her gated home. They were lifting their cameras over her fence so that they could take pictures of her. So Lindsay decided to throw eggs at them. Sadly, none of the eggs actually hit them. They just landed on the ground, by them, or on her driver's Rolls Royce.
And at number 4, Scott Disick. Scott Disick is known for being a hothead on Keeping Up, so obviously some of that behavior is going to translate to real life when he's being confronted by paparazzi. I don't think Scott has ever gotten physical with paparazzi, but he has definitely gotten close. There are even a few compilations on YouTube where you can see Scott getting visibly angry with paparazzi and about to totally lose his temper. The worst was when he was out with Courtney, and when they tried to get into their car, one paparazzi got a little too close to Scott and his car. This caused both of them to go off, with the paparazzi and Scott screaming at each other, with Scott telling him to get off his car along with other profanities. And seeing how physical Scott can get on Keeping Up, he's another person that I personally would definitely not be messing with if I was a paparazzi. And at number 3, Cara Delevingne. Cara Delevingne is another celebrity that has had multiple bad interactions with paparazzi, and she's vocal about her hatred of them. In one instance, when she was walking out of London's Heathrow Airport, she shoved some paparazzi while trying to get through the crowd, and it looked like she purposely walked right into them. She often covers her face when encountered by paparazzi too, as that makes the value of the tapes far lower. Another time, she was so mad about being hounded by paparazzi that she actually kicked one paparazzi's bike in their direction while screaming at them to get out of her face. She also tweeted her distaste for photographers once, writing, quote, "The paparazzi only get worse. I'm not complaining, but I just find it sad that I can't live in my own city for that reason. I refuse to let these grown men treat people like objects with no feelings and get away with it. I will never be silent."